Hello guys, what is up? It is me, Prince of It is back here with another series, What If Deku Had Whitebeard's Powers, Part 7, Endeavor's Agency. And yeah, the title is pretty obvious, but I think this is going to be one of my favorite parts to write, because I usually don't reach this point at all in my series, like at all. So it's going to be real fun, and we're reaching the end already, just 2 more parts to go. I'm telling you now, just ahead, in advance. After this, the war arc comes, like I'm going in. And I hope you guys will enjoy it. This is nearing its end. I know it's sad, but all good things must come to an end. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to delete all of my videos and future ones I'll be coming out. And without any further ado, let's begin. So, with everything that happened in the last part, with Endeavour beating a high end and Dabi coming out of nowhere, we would find the villain raising his hands into the air as he released a blue wave of flames, and the heroes find themselves cornered. Ow! These aren't Endeavor's flames, a hero would say, as he and his partner run over and find themselves unable to even stare at the flames, much less get past it and help the other heroes inside. The newscopter would catch this moment and broadcast it, saying the villain from the League of Villains, Dabi, was present on the scene, and at the UA dorms, it's as if fate was playing with the students. After taking out an almost unsurmountable enemy, a villain had cornered the number 1 and number 2. Him. What is he doing here? What is he even trying to accomplish, thought Aizawa. Back on the streets, Endeavour of course tries to step forward, but collapses almost immediately from his injuries, as Hawk would say, "Don't move, I'll take care of him." With these words, he then releases his feathers quickly, and Dabi would try to burn them away, and he would change the trajectory and grab him by the collar, lifting them into the sky. As expected of number 2. But this ain't enough, he would yell as he would reach and go to burn the feathers, and as he does though, he hears something, and he would then blast to the side, barely avoiding a kick from Miruko, who jumps onto the stage. As she dislocates Dabi's shoulder, despite missing her main goal, she would land back, skidding all the way back to the wall of the flames, meeting Endeavour and Hawks, and she would then say, "I saw on the news," and pop right over. "Looks like things are heating up, huh? I heard about you, Dabi. I'm gonna kick you to Kingdom Come." Mirika. I was about to get into the fun part. "A little help, Ujiko," said Dabi, and with these words, a black liquid that transported he and his teammates away during the Kamino incident burst out of his mouth and begins to envelop him. "We still have a lot to talk about, so don't break just yet, NG Todoroki." "Why don't we have a talk now?" said Miriko. She would leap towards him with a kick, but he would then be warped off, and as she hits air, she gets ticked off. "Ugh, and the smell. Is this the same stuff that was at Kamino?" "The crisis has been averted," the newscopter would say, as they fly to the scene, and they would say, "The villain Dabi has retreated. I know my voice will not reach our heroes from this high, but from the bottom of my heart, I and everyone would like to thank you, Endeavour, Hawks, and Miracle for keeping us safe." Hearing the incident was over, the civilians pumped their fists and cheered on their savior, just as Endeavour would slowly lose consciousness, thinking, "Dabi, why did he look so familiar?" Time skip 2 days. Endeavour was hospitalized and healed by a recovery girl, so he lived up to his name as a hero, and he kept the scar, and most importantly, he lived. So yeah, that's good. And the ruined city was slowly being rebuilt, and in these days, Todoroki goes back home to have dinner with his family. Sitting in the Todoroki household around a table, the 3 siblings digging through some ramen when they hear some footsteps. Fumi would say, "Oh, welcome back. You must be tired," she would say, as Enji would enter the room. "Long time no see. Did you have Eraserhead bring you over?" Enji asked, and Fumi would then say, "Oh yeah, he went out of his way to get some permission to get me back home. I told the teacher to come in, but he respectfully declined," she said. Todoroki would then say, "That's a pretty big scar you got there." And he would look at his father, as would Natsu, with them continuing to slurp their ramen condescendingly. "Okay, I get that you guys don't like him, but we tried to congratulate him today, as a family. Dad's trying to reflect on himself," Fumi would say. "Just because you hate him doesn't mean you should show it so openly." "I can hear you, Enji says. At this moment, Natsu would then stand saying he actually can't do this, and Fumi would plead for him to stay, but he already reached the door. Enji would then grab him by the shoulder. "If you want to say something, just say it." "Say it? That's rich coming from you, the guy who wouldn't even look me in the eye a few years ago. You know what's funny? I didn't even know Shoto's favorite fruit was soba until just now, because you always kept us failures out of reach." As the room gets silent, Natsu would then walk out. "I have no idea why those two are so ready to forgive you, but I won't just do so. Okay, you don't get to just have a change of heart when you feel like it. This is a one-sided, selfish little game of yours. That's the only way I see it. And that's why from now on I'll make it my mission to atone for everything," said Enji. Natsu would then ignore him and leave as Fumi yells for him to come back, but he's already out of sight, and she would say, "I thought the family was getting back together again. I was really happy, Todoroki," she said, as she clinged onto and shook him back and forth, almost ready to burst into tears. But Todoroki would say, "I know, but I don't think I've ever seen Natsu get so emotional. Have you?" Hearing this then leaves her surprised, and she's happy because that means that Natsuo is at least willing to let out his feelings. And at that moment, the TV would show some people that are reacting to the high-end incident, and it is an overwhelmingly positive reaction, with the Endeavor's fans being just like happy for him to be number one. They're happy that someone with the firepower is like, you know, number one. People with firepowers are happy to see that a number one hero uses flames. And that fan who yelled on the news, he's being put on merch and shit, and they just sound like they're actually supporting him, which is leaving Endeavour shocked. I still haven't forgiven you for how you tormented mom and how you treated us at Todoroki, but I'm willing to watch and see the new type of dad you'll become. One small aspiration can really drive someone really far enough to do unreasonable things. I know that better than anyone, said Todoroki. We then fade to black. At the UA dorms, in the middle of the night, Deku will wake up, put on his gym uniform, and head out of his room, and he ends up meeting Aoyama while he was still in his PJs. Oh, Midoriya, can't sleep? Yeah, I need to. He then finds his mouth stuffed with cheese, as Aoyama will then put a thumbs up saying, it'll help. Oh, okay. He then bites into the cheese and finds it delicious, thanking Aoyama for the treat, before then running out, and he goes out on a jog, while flowing his conqueror's aura around and through his body. I still can't get used to it. How can it even be possible to imbue attacks with my will? Well, I guess my armament comes from my will too, but I just need to get stronger until I meet him again. Hours then pass and the sun rises, and a new day starts as we find Deku talking to Shinsoo as they walk down the hall heading back from lunch. You're really joining us, huh? Said Deku. Yep. I don't know why you sound so excited about it. Of course I am. I'm technically your master. Don't tell me you forgot all the hard work we put in together. Yeah, please don't bring that up. I almost barfed. It wasn't that extreme, Deku yells. That's by your standards. The two then look forward to see Aizawa walk over saying, get dressed you two, we're having a busy day. You're already behind. Hearing this, the two will then run off and get changed as Deku then goes out to ground Genma in his costume along with everyone who have changed into their gear to match the cold weather. And Jiro will then ask, Midoriya, aren't you cold? Huh? Oh, I don't get cold that easily. Wait, Mina would say as she would then approach Deku and start to inspect him before then saying, did you grow taller? Did I? Well, I am a growing boy, says Deku. And then they're gonna have to renovate your room, and it's already pretty big, said Kaminari. Maybe. Apparently I have a special structure. A doctor once told me that I could get as tall as 8 feet. 8 feet, they all yell? You're pretty relaxed there, aren't you? Hearing the voice of Monoma, the class then turns to face him and 1B who arrive as he would then pose saying, today's the day we settle the score, Class 1A. I don't know what you're talking about, but yeah, let's settle it, says Deku. And as he says this, he gains a devilish look, making the entire class weary because this is going to be one of the most significant and important fights. Rowdy as usual, huh, Midoriya said to Tetsu. Aizawa and Viking will then arrive on the scene saying to calm down, and they have a special guest today, and out walks Shinsoo much to their surprise. Nice to meet you, said Shinsoo. Awesome, good to have you, man, said Tetsu. Is that Aizawa Sensei's binding cloth? And as the class welcomes their guests, Ojiro then gets bad flashbacks to the festival saying, yep, he's the mind control guy. Aoyama would then say, it's induced by talking, right? You're finally here. Everyone then sees Deku run out as he would then hug and lift Shinsoo into the sky. Put me down, damn it, Shinsoo would say. Oh, sorry, I was just excited, Deku would say. As he would then let down Shinsoo, with Kendo then asking if they know each other. Him and I trained together, said Deku. I revved him into shape a bit. Hearing this, Monoma would then smirk, saying, so he knows about you, your habits and moves, right? Okay, I could use this. Shut up. Can we get on with it already, said Bakugo. I got warmed up. Don't want to lose my edge. Blacking then says that they should move on, and he says that today they will be doing a team battle of 4 against 4, between a battle of 1A and 1B, of course. And Shinsoo will be with one 1A team and one 1B team to even out the competition, but it's just for one match, obviously. Sounds fun, Tokage would say. This combat exercise isn't simply about fighting, though, said Viking. You must capture 4 of the other team's members, and the first to do so will win. Komori from Class 1B will then say, oh, so this is about how the villains are becoming more organized. That's what we're training for. I'm just glad it's nice and simple, Tetsu would say. Shishida would then say, yeah, you won't be saying that if you end up facing him, as he would then point to Deku as he would smile back at the class, sending a chill down their spines. Oh, come on, stop being wusses, Monoma would yell. Teams would then be made. Asui, Koda, Kirishima, Kaminari versus Tsuburaba, Rin, Shishida, and Shiozaki. Aoyama, Momo, Tokoyami, Hakure versus Fukidashi, Kendo, Kuroiro, and Komori. Ida, Todoroki, Shoji, and Ojiro versus Tetsu, Kaibara, Tsunotori, and Honenuka? Honenuki is probably Honenuki, I don't know. Yeah, it's probably Honenuki, the softening guy. Yeah, it's the softening guy, Honenuki, my bad. Bakugo, Jiro, Sato, and Sarah versus Bando, Tokage, Kamakiri, and Awase. Deku, Urakamina, and Mineta versus Aoyama, Shoda, Yanagi, and Kodai. Aoyama would then say, "Yes, fate has indicated that I take you down today, Midoriya. Look forward to it." As he begins to laugh hysterically, he finds his neck wrapped by Aizawa's cloth and would then say, "Shut it. Shinsoo, come draw, and you'll be joining the teams that you get." As Shinsoo reaches into the box, he brings out number 1 and 5, putting him on Monoma's team for the final fight, and with Kirishima and the others for the first fight. The first fight has the students spread out to different parts of Ground Genma, as everyone else then waits and watches everything on the monitor, and Lacking would say, "Without any further ado, let's begin the first match." As he says this, the two teams start moving towards each other just as All Might arrives with Midnight. "So, who do you think's gonna win?" Midnight would ask, and All Might would then say, "Well, One Day has been on a constant growth and have been through many crises, but looking at the data 1B they haven't exactly been slacking either, so we're just gonna have to see." As 1A walks and jumps over railings and pipes, Asui will be sticking to the wall, scouting ahead, while also using her new ability to camouflage, and she would say, "We seem pretty close in terms of overall power, but we should be careful and overwhelm them with numbers." As she says this, some birds Koda sent out ahead to scout return telling him new information, and he would then tell everyone Shiozaki, who is by far the most dangerous of the team that they're facing, is alone setting up a nest with like her vines and stuff and a base of sorts. And Shinsoo would then say, "Then just like we're worrying about Shiozaki, they must be worried about Kaminari or me. Midoriya put me on their radar as soon as he said he helped me train." As he says this, up ahead, Asui is surprised by Shishida leaping out from behind a corner, and in an instant, everyone gets on guard just as he goes for Kirishima. And as he goes to slap him away, however, Kirishima goes unbreakable, easily tanking the blow while moving out of the way, allowing Shinsoo to wrap up his arms, and he would then pull himself over and kick him right in the chin, leaving everyone surprised. Shishida would then slightly stumble before then recovering, as he would then swing, but Shinsoo would then jump back. Subaraba, at this point, then releases an air prison trapping Koda in it, and he would then yell, "Come on, Shishida!" Shishida then yells, saying, "I'm not going down that easily." However, as soon as he replies to this, he freezes and everyone notices Subaraba never even opened his mouth, but they see Shinsoo tweaking his mask and they realize that he spoke. He did it. "My voice. He's using my voice," Subaraba thought, and he would then slap Shishida away, only for him to be grabbed by Suyu's tongue, and she starts running off while Shishida starts running after her, but Kaminari then gets in front of him. "Move it!" Shishida would yell as he would then slap him away, but Kaminari crashes. But as Kaminari crashes, the beast becomes shocked and immobilized, with Kirishima then coming in and sending a punch into his stomach, pushing him back. Shishida then quickly charges back, grabbing Kirishima and throwing him into the sky, and Kirishima would then say, "Damn it, he got me. Where the hell am I going anyway?" As he looks down, he then notices he's heading for Shiozaki, who would look up, releasing her vine. "A lost lamb descending from heaven," she would say, and she would then catch him in her clutches, and she then captures him, and Rin would then stay on guard to look after him as Shishida then arrives with Koda in hand, and they throw him in there as well. "Sorry, Koda," Kirishima would say, and Koda would then say, "It's fine." Subaraba, meanwhile, is captured as well, and the two teams start to strategize. As 1A counterattacks, they confuse 1B by using Suyu's mucus to make them think that there were multiple of her, because Shishida naturally relies on his smelling, so they use that to trick them. And they confuse them and catch them off guard, and the team would then win by having Shinsoo brainwash Shiozaki and making her trap herself. Shinsoo would then end up nearly beating Shishida, and Suyu helped with him with that. Like, he has actual combat experience. Like, he's pretty strong for someone who has a quirk that has nothing to do with physical abilities. And like that, the first battle is over. And as Shinsoo's side wins, they return and reflect what they did wrong, what could have done better. And another team then fights, and another, and another. During this challenge, this event of fights, Tokami would also show his new move, Fallen Angel, against Kuroro, who can literally melt into shadows. They're pretty compatible. Momo, meanwhile, fights Kendo and Hagakure, and Aoyama deal with Komori. However, despite their best efforts, they do end up getting captured due to the combined effort of Team 1B. Regardless, everyone gets to show how they grew, especially Ayarozu, who planned out everything. And after this, a break is taken, as All Might then actually pulls Bakugo over to talk. "What's up?" he would ask. "You were right," All Might would say. "I fear that I may have put Miro in danger. Those heroes, it's not only because they were in danger from All for One, they had very, very short lifespans." "Well, take the power back or give it over to..." He won't listen to me. We already told him, me and Night Eye. We both couldn't get him to give it away. He wants to accomplish this." "What a stubborn bastard," Bakugo would say. A while later, the next team then goes with Todoroki, Ojiro, Ida, and Shoji running out to meet Team B, and as soon as the two teams meet each other, Todoroki will then flash freeze everything in an instant, while everyone then takes their positions and get ready to attack. "Shit, he's behind all that ice," Tetsu would say, and this is when Honenuki would then say, "Don't worry," as the ice then begins to soften around them, with Kaibara then attacking Shoji with his revolving hands. And as he is attacked, Ida then goes to run in, but finds his feet slipping as he then crashes into the softened ground and gets stuck. Todoroki would then walk up to him saying that he should be more careful. Just because it didn't take effect right away doesn't mean that he should just walk around aimlessly. Tetsu meanwhile would attack and bash through Todoroki's new ice creations and grab him by the face just as Shoji's arms then go to grab him, but as he goes to help, he's then pushed back by the horns of Tsunotori, and Tetsu would then say, "It was real cold in there for a while, you know, Todoroki. Let me raise the heat a bit." With these words, he then slammed the palm of his hand into his stomach, releasing a quick flash of fire that blows Tetsu through pipe after pipe before he then lands, holding his stomach in pain. He surpassed the amount of heat I can handle in a few seconds. No, for a few seconds. Pretty powerful, right, Todoroki would say. Just strong enough for a quick attack that won't drain me too much. That's what he came up with, huh? Deku said. I guess that's what the gloves are for. And he had a huge smile across his face, with everyone then saying his true thoughts are really showing. He should calm the hell down. As the fight raged on, however, it still ended up in a tie like in the original, and they all end up losing their energy and getting submerged by softened pipes and ice from Hononuki, who had frozen Todoroki's ice. And Hononuki then went up against Ida, who was going full throttle, and he just couldn't keep up against it. And they continue, and soon everything comes to an end. And honestly, I'm not going to cover everything. Honestly, I find the fights pretty boring. But in the end, Shinsoo ends up getting put down for joining the hero course in his second year. And as night begins to fall, 1A gathers to their dorm with 1B, who came to talk about the exam and just hang out. Meanwhile, at Deku's door, we find it being opened by Ida, Tokuyama, and Kirishima, and they see him sleeping. And Kirishima would then say, Mina wasn't kidding about that Growthspurt. Should we take him up? Back away. Slowly, said Bakugo. Quickly they do, but then ask why, with Bakugo then saying, when he's in deep sleep, never wake him up. He will swing. That honestly sounds like a medical issue, says Tokuyami. It's a side effect of his hockey. It's an instinct. Luckily, he's slow enough for you to dodge, but it still packs a wallop though. Trust me, from experience, just back away. As they back away slowly, the door will then close and they hear Todoroki ask what's wrong, and they say it's nothing. A day then passes, and the next day, Aoyama tries to copy Iri's quirk by Aizawa's plead, but finds it impossible, calling it a blank because it stockpiles power, and he can't do that. And it's the same with Deku's quirk when they were fighting, in the class versus class. He tried to copy his quirk, it did not work. He almost could have died. And as she got told her quirk stockpiles power, it only agitates her more, and she would then grab her horn and in a shaky voice would apologize. Everyone's been so on guard because of me. I can't control it. I can't. However, as she looks, she then sees Deku, who smiles, and she remembers his story and shakes her head. No, I'll control it. I'll train super hard and I'll do it. That's more like it, Deku would say. Besides, you might help one of us someday. Iri would then say that she will try, but she definitely still wants to help, and Aizawa then says Deku will be helping her along with himself, making her better at controlling her powers, and Deku would be excited as he kneels down holding his fist out, and she would then bump it. Days would then pass as snow starts to fall and December has fully arrived, and on a Monday, we find Redestro in his office reviewing the new commercial for the new items produced by his company. And as Miyashita turns out the TV, Redestro would then say, I like it, but is it possible to at least digitally change the size of my forehead? Yeah, but that's the funny part, the cat would say. And Redestro would then laugh at his funny assistant, saying he liked this straightforwardness. But this isn't really going well. I expected the reaction to be, well, not okay, but this is really bad. Miyashita then agrees, saying compared to other businesses that are starting out, so their track record is quite small. But still bigger than your forehead, he would say, as Redestro would then laugh again, but Miyashita would laugh internally, thinking this man would just accept whatever he wants, whatever he says, my bad, and he thinks he's an idiot. He's so stupid, the cat man thought. But when it comes to goods, we're the best for special ability users, says Redestro. Special ability, sir? Miyashita would ask. And Redestro then says, oh, quirks, my bad. I've been reading this book, you see. Noticing the cover and the author of the book, his assistant would then say that he honestly found the book horrible. Everything the Liberation Army was doing is honestly blatant terrorism. Like, what were these criminals thinking? That he would then find himself being held onto by Redestro, who hugs him tight with a much more sinister smile. Sorry to bother you, but you don't have any relatives, right? As he says this, his grip would tighten, but Miyashita nervously saying he doesn't. My mom just died. Just, what are you? In the next moment, he would then be crushed as he spews blood, with Redestro then dropping into the ground as he looks up with tears falling out of his eyes. Soon when it became darker, Redestro then heads out to a certain building, and it seemed closed down, but as he opens it, he finds it full of allies. He goes up, he goes down with an elevator, and his allies are there at a table. And as soon as they arrive, they'll make a sign of an L with their thumb pointed to their foreheads. Report, Redestro says he would then close the door behind himself. Trumpet would then say, we found some people in contact with the villain league, but we should move fast if we plan on talking with them. Redestro would then say to move out and find them instantly, and they all say yes, and he walks to a photo of a certain man with dark marks forming around his eyes, and he was wearing a mask. He caresses the photo, saying, they're an unneeded and dangerous variable to the army, so I swear in the name of Destro to destroy the League of Villains. Curious then asks, oh, just for clarification, why are we expanding into the hero industry? And Redestro would then say, yes, it's quite bizarre for the Liberation Army to make that kind of move, but we're targeting those like us, those who also wish for liberation. We then cut to villains rampaging through a certain part of the city, stealing purses and valuables as they knock over civilians, and the villains will be in a group of 5 as their leader at the forefront drives them forward using a wave of water using his quirk. Hey, boss, maybe we should have come on the weekends. I mean, yeah, you're right, there's usually more valuables around that time, but honestly, this is just about the thrill. Yeah, you're right, the henchman would say. However, this is when, as if a comet was dropping by, they were blown back by a shockwave, with them being sent back just as a wall of ice erects behind them, bouncing them back to the ground. The civilians ahead would then run off as All Might evacuates them, and they get starstruck, seeing that even in his weakened state, their former number 1 was doing what he could to help. And as the dust clears and the mist clears, the villains, stand and see Bakugo and Deku before them, as Deku would then be smirking and smiling with excitement. Having a license is the best! Instantly, they recognize both of them, and instantly, they quickly turn the other way, and the leader melts through the ice wall with this carbonated water, but as he goes to the other side, he finds Todoroki, who blows them back with a wave of ice. Sorry for being harsh, he would say, and as they're sent back, they're met by explosions to their backs by Bakugo, who then knocks them out, while they're then wrapped up by Deku's jaws, and they're pulled over as he would then hold all of them with like one gigantic, like he's holding like they're fucking babies. And Deku would then say, I didn't get to do anything. Well, you stopped them from advancing, but they were very weak, so it's okay, says Todoroki. As he puts a thumbs up, Bakugo will then say he's trying too hard to cheer him up, making Deku call Bakugo a jerk. Yeah, and I'm the jerk who just got back the stuff they took. And he would then show his pockets holding the purses they took, leaving the two generally oppressed as Deku would then drop the villains, and Todoroki says, you would make an amazing pickpocket. I'm gonna be a hero, dumbass. And as he explodes with anger, All Might would then run back with a certain hero who would slide over. As Slidin Go arrives, he would then look at the 3 and with a smile says, oh, the hero from UA, I assume this is your work? And as they say yes, Bakugo would then show the retrieve valuables, and the hero would then hug them, saying that they're gonna be fantastic heroes, and he would then say, now, you can leave this to me, okay? And as he says this, they hear a crack and turn to see the leader's gauntlets bust, which is what he was using to help himself use his quirk. They're defectives from the black market, so this reaction is actually quite fitting, Slidin Go would say. How ironic, says Giron. As insane as they may look, your quirk reflects how fucked up you really are. Compared to them, I think you're worse. Try using something else than insulting my clients. You and I are going to be spending a lot of time together then, says Redestro. Time skip. New Year's Eve. Gathering in the dorm and the living room and dressed up as Santas while the snow blows outside, one day would declare themselves a happy Christmas, and they'd be eating out food laid out while talking about who was going to intern for who next and if they were going to stay in the same spot. And Jiro would then say, Ochako, so you're going back to Ryukyu? Yep, what about you, she would ask. Jiro would then say she doesn't know, and they begin to talk about it. Meanwhile, Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki will be talking about their options. If you want, I wouldn't mind having you guys come over to my father's agency. Yeah, sure, why not, Deku would say. As always, since I says I need to work with more different perspectives. So, yeah. Bakugo? I mean, I can't exactly go back to Denim Head. You changed his nickname, says Deku. It fits. He says he wants me to find a suitable hero name and then return. Out of nowhere, however, Mineta would then yell, this is supposed to be a holy night. Why the hell are we talking about school only? That's fresh coming from you, Bakugo would yell. My point still stands, Mineta would say. And Sato would then bring in some turkey, saying that he's gotta agree because they should talk about literally anything else. It is Christmas. Screw that school stuff. 'Tis the season, he would say. A creak is then heard from their door, and at that moment, Aizawa would then walk in with Eri, and she would be wearing a Santa costume, but she would then say, tricky treat? Instantly, they all get hit by the blinding light from her cuteness, and Aizawa says that's not quite the right holiday. Regardless, though, 1A comes over and brings her over for the party, saying she looked adorable, and Deku then notices her horn actually has grown a lot compared to when he first saw it. It was actually 5 feet long now, which is a huge change from the anime and manga. Seems like your cheering helped a lot, as I would say. As he would then come over and Deku says he's glad. Did you choose someone yet? Yeah, Endeavour, says Deku. The party then continues as everyone gets to relax, and we then have another time skip of a full week. And we then see Hawks as he stands amongst the Liberation Army, seeing Gigantomachia present, along with Redestro, Skeptic, Getten up front, and this is when he would announce it, the creation of the Paranormal Liberation Front, with Shigaraki then walking out bandaged up along with his friends / allies. I was too late, Hawks thought, as Shigaraki then spoke. He no longer stumbled or sounded gritty, he sounded like a new man. So, we're kind of removing the whole villain label on our part. Just do what we want, sound good? As the crowd would cheer, Hawks would then clap his hands, and he was freaking out, but he was trying to keep it inside. And Shigaraki has gone through a sort of awakening, he could feel it, he could see it. When the meeting came to an end soon, however, the group did go backstage and started to leave, and Shigaraki would then walk off, as Redestro would then ask if he would like anything, and he would say, "You were splendid, sir, maybe you would like a drink," and he would say this in a crazed, enthusiastic manner. "Screw off," Shigaraki would say. "With pleasure," the man would say, as he then drives off in his wheelchair, with Trumpet being embarrassed at what he has become, and he was obviously beaten by Shigaraki. You know what happened. My man is just ruined, honestly. And as the villains head off, Shigaraki would then call Ujiko and his group follow behind. "So, you return to your original self," Ujiko would say. "The same goes with your work." "Now, will you do the procedure?" says Shigaraki. "Sure, you've definitely earned it. I never imagined you'd take Gigantomachia on in such a way, but there is one more thing I need from you. It is very easy to get." Shigaraki then says okay and turns off the call, telling everyone that they're leaving, and next time we meet, I'll take it all from you. Izuku Midoriya, he thought. We then time skip to a few days later when Deku would be in the Midoriya household, and he and Inko will be having some, personal time. They haven't talked in a while, and he would then say, "Oh, remember Eri? She made me this." He then brings out a letter and begin to talk about how hard she's working, and this would leave Inko smiling, and Deku would then ask why she looks so happy. "Just because." "Okay, weirdo," Deku would say, and the two begin to laugh, with Inko then saying she noticed that he grew a bit, both in height and maturity. "I haven't seen you act impulsively once. You're not running around like usual." She would then stand, and Deku would then lower his head for her to ruffle his hair, making Izuku just blush because he hasn't seen his mom in a while, and Inko would say, "Good job. Also, I think we should really go find the quirk doctor. You hit the walls on the way in." So they do go to the quirk doctor after and get it checked out, and it seems Deku was entering that growth stage Dr. Ujiko mentioned. They couldn't really estimate how tall he'd grow or how much he'd grow in general because his bone structure and body was changing at a rapid rate, but by the next day he would already be over 8 feet tall easily, much to Endeavor's shock when he sees him. He's almost 9 feet. As he stands in the street with Bakugo, Todoroki, and Deku being present, he then looks to Todoroki saying, "Does he have a gigantification quirk?" "Oh no, apparently my body's changing to adapt to how I'm growing." "Pretty cool, right?" Deku would say. "We've all gotten used to it," says Todoroki. "When he was walking today, he accidentally ripped off a door." "Honestly, I don't really care. I just want to Shoto," says Endeavour. "Well, you're stuck with us, so deal with it," Bakugo would say. With the side, the hero then says to follow and asks if Deku can still work like before. "I don't want your uncontrollable strength being a liability." Deku, however, would then show his jaw, saying that's why he had these. "I can use them to restrain and fight, so I'll be fine." As soon as he says this, however, his eyes then flare, with Endeavour noticing as Deku then points to a certain direction, and the hero then leaps off, and the bridge that they were standing on, it would burst with his hell flame. "Think you can keep?" However, as he looks back, already Deku will be right beside him as we Bakugo, while Todoroki glides forward from below, and Endeavour would laugh, thinking, "They're definitely skillful. And with Midoriya's observation, I can always know when a crime will ever happen." As they blast off, however, Endeavour will slowly leave behind Shoto and Bakugo, but Deku is still trying to keep up, and soon came to not be able to anymore because he's the #1 hero, and he started falling behind as they find the villain about to release water attacks, only for him to then have his quirk deactivated by Deku, and Endeavour then arrives, slamming a punch into his stomach. "Don't mess around on my turf." Deku then arrives saying, "Wow, you're real fast, huh?" "Tell me when you're going to use their Conqueror Spirit in their advance," says Endeavour, and Deku would then say sure, as Bakugo and Todoroki then arrive, being upset at how big the gap in speed is between them, but they come back to their senses, and Endeavour is still the #1 hero. They cannot be surprised. Come on. Todoroki would then say, "Even Midoriya can keep up." "You have good explosive power, but you started lagging behind," said Endeavour. "Agreed," Hawks would say, as he then arrives, and he would then have everyone look at him arrive, like the citizen and the heroes, and he would then land beside them, as the three kids would then be surprised at his appearance, and Hawks would then look to Endeavour and bring out a book, saying, "Take it." "Revolutionary Army?" Endeavour asks. "I recommend it. You two should get some too," and he would then throw 3 books to the three, who would catch it, and Bakugo would then ask, "Where the hell were you hiding those?" "I have to leave now," Hawks would say, and Bakugo would then yell, "Answer my question!" As he flies up, Hawks would then say that he and Endeavour should talk again sometime, but this time he shows much more seriousness in his tone, with Endeavour noticing, and as he flies off, the hero would think, "Train them well, Endeavour. They're gonna need it." After this, they then go to the Endeavor agency as the villain was taken away, and they are met by psychics such as Burnin, who would welcome them. And she would then say, "Welcome to Endeavor's agency, we're the Flamin Sidekicks. We're not exactly short on staff though, so you won't be getting much attention," she would say. She would then come to Deku and stare up at him with a menacing glare. Deku then returns the favor, saying, "That's if you can keep up with me." The sidekicks can all feel the pressure coming from Deku, as is infamously told through every hero who has ever been in his presence, but they say that they're not going to give up. "You too, Shoto," Burnin would say. "Don't assume anything because you're the boss's kid." Shoto then says, of course, Bakugo then asking when the hell they're going to actually do something. And Kido, the mummy-looking psychic, would then say they actually don't actually get to go on patrol that much. They're usually on standby and they take care of certain cases. But now, we have more to do than ever since Sir Endeavour became #1. "Let's get to it already," Bakugo would say. The psychics then proceed to show them around and put them to work. Meanwhile, Endeavour opens up the book given to him by Hawks and he finds certain highlighted words. Things such as worthy opponent, private army, and meta abilities. And as he flips through the pages, he starts realizing these words, they give him a message. The opponent is a league of villains. They've hijacked the Liberation Army. 100,000 members? Oh, I'm reading this wrong. 4 months from now on. 4 months. We have 4 months. Quickly, he then closes the book and would then bust the doors open, catching the attention of everyone as he then says, "Bakugo, Todoroki, Midoriya, you're with me." Deku would then look at Burnin smiling, saying, "Ha! Oh, shut up and go get in your costumes," Burnin would say. And Bakugo would then say, "Finally," as he would have a huge grin across his face, and they get dressed and come back, and I never asked what they're hoping to gain from this whole thing. "I'm gonna find out what I can't do because there's a lot of things I can," says Bakugo. "Pretty arrogant, huh?" Burnin would say. "Shut it. I'm being serious. I can do almost anything with my power, but as time passes, it seems it's not enough for me to just be the best, so I'm gonna find what I'm missing." "Good. And you, Midoriya?" Deku hearing this then begins to stroke his chin, thinking about it before then saying, "I can already do everything pretty well, but there's this new move I'm working on. It's called Rio. I've named it that." And everyone then says to show him, and Deku says, "Sure," as he would then close his eyes, and he starts to radiate a different color of hockey, and everyone can feel the change, though it is subtle. Instead of using armament, I imbue myself with the Conqueror spirit, and with that I can deal internal damage to anything and destroy it from the inside. I accidentally used it one day when I was attacked by poison, but I wasn't really able to activate it later on. I've started to, but I've only been successful in using it correctly like once. I want to get used to this, and the doctor says I'll keep growing until I reach age 17, so it's honestly getting really hard to control my strength and everything." Omina, the horn psychic, would then say that must be troublesome, to which he says that he's had to replace so many things in his closet, and he says they're even renovating my room. "Then it's just about control. If that's all, then let's go," Endeavour would say, and as he starts to leave though, Shoto asks if he's gonna let him talk. "Shoto, you're the master Flashfire Fist, right? So what's the need?" "I didn't come here to just follow your will. I've realized how important that is since I'm going to UA. So let's stop this father-son crap in front of my friends. I said it before, I'm not here to bond." A long silence would then fall, with Endeavour turning morbid as he then keeps a stoic face out for saying, "Right, you will be washed over by me as a hero. Rescue, evacuation, and battle. I'm gonna teach them all to you." He then heads out with the 4 following behind, and they go out to the streets with Endeavour then saying, while some agencies pick out one of those 3 things to focus on, his agency isn't picky. "As shown before, you're all pretty fast, but you need consistency, so that's your first lesson. Show me you can take down a villain faster than me." Quickly, they then begin to patrol, and a week would pass. They chase and chase and chase, and Endeavour keeps trying to keep them, at arm's bay, and he does because he's the #1 hero, until one day. As they take a break atop a building, Deku senses something as his eyes would glow, showing a bright red color, with them looking off to the direction, and instantly they all blast off at the same time. But quickly, they find that Deku has gone far ahead, and as he jumps way faster, he actually steps, and his little cracks in space do not just stop. He was doing something different this time. He wasn't using hockey or anything special. He was gliding on air while breaking it. "That bastard's ripping through space while gliding on it," Bakugo would say, and as Deku runs, he begins to glide on air, which keeps consistently propelling him forward until he finds a villain running on the side of a building while shooting rounds at Deku, who then swipes them all away and punches them all away. And despite being 100 feet away, the villain's chest would then be hit by a shockwave, and a crack would then form right before him, knocking him out before he then reels him in using his jaws and catches him. Finally got first place. He then begins to descend and the others slow down, with Todoroki then coming to a stop, as does Endeavour and Bakugo, and they drop to the ground, and the cracks then fade, with Deku landing as well, and he begins to cheer about in happiness, while some citizens who notice this act of heroism would clap. "Oh, thank you, it's nothing much. In just a week you surpassed my speed." A terrifying talent, Endeavour thought. "Can we move on?" Todoroki would say. Endeavour then hears the staunchiness and seriousness in his voice, and Bakugo says the same. "No, I have to get one. I ain't got time to be messing around." At this point, Deku would then walk over asking where the nearest police station was, and Bakugo then yells, "Don't get all smug in front of me, alright? I'll get 1 too. Then I'll get 6. Why did you quintuple it?" Bakugo would say. "And I will get a whole dozen," Todoroki would say. And as they begin to argue, Endeavour then yelled, and they stop, and he smiles. "Good work, Midoriya. I did not expect that from you." Oh yeah, that came out of nowhere. I didn't expect it either, but it all worked out, right? They then look at him with a look of bafflement, and Endeavour would ask if he came up with that on the spot. Oh yeah, I was just jumping around, and I thought, man, it's so annoying. I just want to go fast, and I started creating a path. What? Just, let's go, Todoroki would say. We will end this part here. Welcome to the end of the video, and before I say anything more, I would like to apologize both to you guys and, well, actually, that's it. I really fucked up on the script. Not gonna lie, yeah, I messed this up, script-wise a lot. A lot of things just were unpolished, so I had to re-edit a lot of stuff. There's a lot of cuts in this video. You probably noticed it. I apologize. Next time I shall do better, but I hope you like this video anyway. And also, stay safe. That's all I want to say. Tell me down below how you're feeling today. I'm feeling pretty good. Haven't done anything yet except record a video. Might take a walk, do all types of stuff, and that's about it. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell to update all my videos, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Yes, I'm a little tired.